COVID, COVID, COVID. One of you has COVID. There's a new COVID variant, probably the millionth, that has mutated and caused chaos worldwide. How do you handle it? What do you do? So it's about to be your time for time sharing, or maybe you just started your time sharing. You suddenly have that little hook in the nose, you have the cough, you have the irritations, which can include mood swings. And so you go ahead to the urgent care, the care spot, the emergency room, whatever it is, you go ahead there. And what do you find? You find that you test positive. You have one of those lovely variants. So what do you do? Well, your parenting plan probably does not address this because most people considered it to be a momentary point in time, not a point in time in which would last forever and continue mutating and continue causing chaos. So, in the absence of your parenting plan having this, what is it you're supposed to do? One thing you can consider doing, one thing you can consider doing is contacting the other parent and letting them know. Now, your relationship with them might be essentially beyond repair, and contacting them might necessitate that you forfeit your time sharing because asking for it back and asking the other party by right of first refusal or just out of plain courtesy or common sense, really, if you can't take care of your kids at that time, might create a situation where you forfeit and lose your time if the other parent is nasty and not understanding. The other parent should be nice, courteous, professional, and understanding because they might get sick too. They might have a life event and need your assistance. This is a give and take of co parenting. I can tell you that the more people hate each other, the less co parenting exists. The only person you're hurting, ladies and gentlemen, is your kids. If you really enjoy doing that, go right ahead and mess them up, screw up their lives, and twist their psyches for the rest of their lives because they're going to be children of divorce because you made it so. On the other hand, in this particular situation and in many others, you can extrapolate and draw parallels. On the other hand, maybe the right course of action is that you contact the other parent, tell them you're sick, swap your time with them so they will take this week if you have week on, week off, for example, and then you'll take next week when you're feeling better. And the likelihood is your kids, even though they're less susceptible, at least according to everything I've read in scientific journals, less susceptible to harsh symptoms and less susceptible to long-term effects from COVID, the likelihood is they might get sick too. And if they get sick, they're probably going to get sick several days later, which may coincide with your next time sharing, which should be okay with you because if you were sick and now your kid's sick, you're going to want to take care of them. It might not be great for your work schedule. Many of us work from home. Many of us are small business owners nowadays, and we're not dependent on somebody else telling us whether or not we have to go into an office. And to that effect, I say, great. The more small businesses we have, the more personal flexibility and freedom we have to earn money in our own way based on our own entrepreneurship, the better off we're likely to be with our parenting and raising a family, despite all of the insecurities that come along with owning a business. So this is essentially a lesson in two things, in two parenting principles. The first of which is that right of first refusal. If you have an event come up where you cannot be with your child for an overnight or longer, most parenting plans suggest you have to contact the other person. Hey, maybe you don't even want to tell them why. Maybe you don't feel that you owe them the courtesy of an explanation, and you ask them to swap time sharing. They're probably unlikely to do it unless you tell them, but maybe they say yes if you have a cordial relationship, in which case you should probably inform them anyway because they might get sick. They might have elderly people living with them, and they might not want to swap that time sharing with you unless you are essentially in dire straits. The other part of this is those parallels I mentioned. It's not just COVID, it's not just the flu. Sometimes when we get a little older, we need to have a minor surgery, an outpatient procedure. Sometimes we get a little bit older and we need to go on a trip for work because we're now management or senior management or some such thing. We might need training. This could be Vegas, it could be LA, could be New York, could be Atlanta, who knows. But if we have to travel, doesn't it stand the reason that we want to have the track record with the other party? Here's a way you can establish it too. Suppose they want to have a summer vacation. There's a family event every summer on the ex-wife side or the ex-husband side. they have an annual event, maybe even for Thanksgiving. What can you do? Offer to trade them, sweeten the deal, be a negotiator, do your own sort of pseudo semi mediation. Get it done. Because the only person that truly suffers when you cannot do co parenting and you cannot exercise good judgment is your children. And God forbid that happens.